Welcome back. All right, news of the day video for all you fine people on the internet for your Monday, October the 20th. This is a busy night in sports, too. So you've got 2 Monday Night Football games. You've got 5 NHL games. And, of course, Game 7. The Toronto Blue Jays, the Seattle Mariners. So I've got right here, good luck, Blue Jays. And I mean that. I hope the Blue Jays win it. However, if the Mariners win, I'll be rooting for them, too. If they're the team that gets destroyed by Ohtani and the Dodgers. Ohtani's just, it's at some point in time we're going to find out he's a robot, and we're all going to act surprised. Anyways, so we'll start off at the top. Nobody can strike out that many batters and hit home runs. That's just, it's not possible. It's just not. If you created a player like that in a baseball video game, people would tell you that's just not realistic. You got to start over. All right, tonight for the Montreal Canadiens, Dobesh gets the start against Buffalo. It's not a goalie controversy yet, but if Montembeault's numbers continue to be rather pedestrian, and if Dobesh continues to play really well, we're going to get to goaltender controversy stage. Now, it happens with a lot of teams, and it makes sense for Montreal to go with Dobesh. He does have the better numbers right now. Montembeault will figure it out. Laine and Doc both not at morning skate. They're not expected to be in the next game for Montreal either. So yeah, the Montreal Canadiens have had a very strong start to the season, and they're just going through a little bit of a test right now with injuries, but they still look good. The Vancouver Canucks also being tested with injuries. Lecker, Mackey, and Hedl both placed on IR, so we'll see how long they're out for. Of course, with Hedl, anytime it's any kind of jarring hit, right? So yesterday's hit by Wilson, there's a very loud reaction from Canucks fandom because it's Hedl. If it was most other players taking that hit, A, I think they probably stay in the game, and B, we wouldn't be concerned that, you know, that's the next big concussion. With Hedl, you've always got that concern. So he'll probably be out, I would say, for a minimum of a week. No idea with Lecker Mackey how long he's going to be out. It looked like shoulder with Lecker Mackey being likely. The Canucks have sent Mancini down to the AHL. Lebate and Schultz have been recalled. Now, apparently, the NHL wanted to do a paper transaction, and the NHL said no. So they wanted to just put down on paper that he was sent to the AHL and then bring him back up. The NHL says no. So he has to play one game in the American Hockey League before he's able to come back up. So as far as I know, the Canucks are the first team to test that and ask the NHL for an allowance, and the NHL said no, which they should. If that's the new rule, if you're going to make an exception for the Canucks in this situation, then you're going to have to make an exception for everybody. So Mancini will play at least one game in Abbotsford, and Lebate and Schultz will be up. Lebate's fourth line, of course, he can drop the gloves. Schultz has been around as a perimeter player for a while, sometimes in the NHL, usually in the AHL. So we'll see how things go for the Canucks. But their depth is definitely under the microscope right now. The Oilers have activated Jake Wallman from injured reserve. Anything that can help get the Oilers offense going and get the team pointing in the right direction would be greatly appreciated, I would think. Wallman is a good defenseman who is now signed to this extension that people have an opinion of, but getting Wallman back in the lineup should help the Oilers' case. Rossi, dealing with a lower body injury. He is day-to-day, will not play tonight against the New York Rangers. This is a Minnesota team that's already showing they can't score 5-on-5, and now they're going to not have Rossi in the lineup. For Rossi, apparently this ends a consecutive games played streak of 173 games. So hopefully Rossi's not out for that long. For Minnesota, this is kind of a tough blow because they're already not able to score enough, and now one of their more creative forwards is out of the lineup for the time being. McCann, he's dealing with a lower body injury. He won't play against Philadelphia. He's considered day-to-day, so no word on whether or not he'll play tomorrow. My guess is probably not. If he doesn't play today, he probably doesn't play tomorrow. This gives Catton a chance to make his NHL debut tonight. He's excited about this. And Berkeley Catton's a first-round draft pick, so we'll see what he might be able to bring to the Seattle lineup. The trick for Catton is make sure they can't pull you out again. Make sure that when McCann's ready to come back into the lineup, you've made yourself important or at least shown what you can do, and then somebody else is the healthy scratch. Nico Mikkola is going to play against Boston tomorrow for Florida. There was some question about whether or not he would. He did not finish the game against Buffalo. So he was there until the second period, went out in the second period. He wasn't the only Florida player who didn't show up, but he was the only one that wasn't on the ice. That game was just bonkers. And so, yeah, with Florida and Boston tomorrow, I'll be fascinated to see which team ends up winning that game, which team controls that game, because neither Florida nor Boston have looked great lately. So that should make things interesting. PL Dubois is still in a non-contact jersey at practice for the Washington Capitals, so he'll miss the game tomorrow night against the Seattle Kraken. For Dubois, I believe this is the fourth game in a row he will have missed, and I'm pretty sure he's listed just as day-to-day. So this is how day-to-day works now. Day-to-day, you might miss a week and a half, 2 weeks. Oh, it's week to week? Oh, you're going to be out like a month. Month to month? Season's done. Anyways, yeah, so Dubois in a non-contact jersey, but Washington should be okay. They just did not have a great start against Vancouver, but once they got their game going, Vancouver had a really hard time keeping them hemmed in at all. Your 3 stars of the week: Dylan Larkin of the Detroit Red Wings, the first star, 4 games, 4 goals, 5 assists, 9 points. Jack Eichel of the Vegas Golden Knights, second star, 3 games, 3 goals, 5 assists, 8 points. And Wedgwood won all 3 games he played this week with a .954 save percentage. Wedgwood has been very good. I also will say this for Colorado. With Wedgwood in net, I do feel like they've done a good job of protecting the net and making sure that they're blocking as many shots and keeping the puck at the other end as often as possible. So they're also making sure Wedgwood isn't getting overworked while Blackwood is out. And Blackwood's not traveling with the team, but he is seen as being close to a return. The Utah Mammoth, so this is just an interesting one. They're 3-0 since they revealed Tusky as their mascot. So lucky charm. And I'm sure if mascots could speak, he'd be crowing about this one, but no. So yeah, Utah, I think, has played well the whole way through, and now they're starting to get those results. The first few games, they weren't necessarily getting those results, but they were still playing well. And yeah, good on them. They were a team that was expected to push towards a playoff spot, and maybe they'll get there. Good news out of Chicago. So Nick Foligno has returned to the team. His daughter had the surgery that she required, the open heart surgery, and she is now home. So the Foligno family likely very, very relieved. His daughter being home already is great. He's rejoined the team, and he says he's been very touched by the outpouring of support from the hockey community. And yeah, I mean, he's a very liked figure around the National Hockey League circles, even by fans who cheer for teams that Foligno's against, or that cheer for teams that play against Foligno's. You guys know what I mean. But yeah, he's respected by, I would say, all 32 fan bases generally. Cole Perfetti, Winnipeg Jets news here. He is targeting a mid-November return, so that's a little bit ahead of where the schedule was expected to be for Perfetti, which is great news. The return, though, for Sandberg is yet unknown. So Lowry, it looks like, will be ready for the end of October, early November. Mid-November, they get Perfetti back. Sandberg, it's still anybody's guess on when Sandberg is going to be back in the lineup for the Winnipeg Jets. Ryan Warsofsky, and I laughed pretty hard at this quote, and now he's clarified that he was kidding, of course. He's now clarified he's not willing to give up one of his kids for a win. I thought it was funny that he said he was willing to sacrifice one of his kids for a win, because just picturing a coach saying, I would sacrifice, I'd give up one of my kids for a win. So one of his children is sent off somewhere, you know. I'm not going to go dark with it. Maybe you send him off to Disneyland for a year. So you send your kid off to Disneyland for a year. They can just live there and stay overnight with the cats. There are cats in Disneyland. So the idea that at the end of the year, Warsofsky would look at the record and go, well, we only won 1 game all year, and I had to give up my kid for that. But you know what? Worth it. That's how I pictured it. And I was thinking, that might be a funny video to do. And now he comes out and he says, I didn't mean that. And it's like, great. So there goes that video idea. But yeah, so he's not willing to sacrifice one of his kids for a win. Now I think the rumor should be Mike Greer saying, Ryan, we really appreciated you saying you were willing to give up one of your own children to get a win. Now that you're saying you're not willing, we aren't quite sure about your commitment to the team. So we're going to have to let you go. But either way, you guys can let me know your thoughts. I think it's funny. So the Calgary Flames, not happy with their start, 1-5 and all that. Miromanov has been placed on waivers. Apparently he's only played 1 game. Miromanov, the potential he showed in Vegas, he has not fully realized, and now he's on waivers. I think he very likely clears. Sharon Govich is going to be a healthy scratch tonight against the Winnipeg Jets. So the Calgary Flames sending a bit of a message here that things have to change. For the Flames, I have said before, I'll say it again here, I feel like they overachieved a bit last year. And now I think what we're seeing is more along the lines of what we expected from Calgary last season we didn't get. So the Flames making some moves here, but I would think that if they go a full month and if their record continues to be pretty woeful, maybe there's a pivot from Conroy and maybe he's willing to move some guys that otherwise he was thinking about keeping. Dallas news. Nils Lundqvist dealing with a lower body injury. He's been placed on IR. He is seen as week to week, so minimum of 2 weeks in that instance. Lundqvist has had a decent bounce back so far for Dallas. He's had his ups and downs with Dallas. A lot of downs, really, honestly. He really did struggle under Pete DeBoer to stay in the lineup, and so hopefully when Lundqvist is good to go, he's right back in the lineup for Dallas and plays well. So, yeah, there you go. Got everything on the board. Again, good luck to the Jays tonight in that Game 7, because somebody's got to get destroyed in 4 straight games by the Dodgers. So, that's how I see it. The teams tonight, I think, are playing to decide who the Dodgers get to just manhandle for a week and a half, if it takes that long. I don't think it'll take that long. I think 4 or 5 games, Dodgers are going to have this. So in the event the Jays win a Game 7, I may do an entertainment guy video discussing that. But at this point in time, let me know your thoughts. Hit like and subscribe if you haven't done so already. Thank you guys so much for all your support. It's greatly appreciated. I will talk to you again soon.